Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I know it's been quite a while since our last episode, where Mike and it was warm enough to sit outside and smoke cigars for that one. And here we are. It's in the teens in New York City. It's December. I don't know if you can see it, but I had to rearrange this place and get all the gift shipping items out of the way because it is definitely December. But today we're really excited because we have a very special guest. And Mike and I have been talking for a while about expanding this, instead of, hearing us sit around and bitch about the wine business, maybe we could, get some other people in here who run small businesses in New York City and hear you guys can hear us bitch about that as well. I'm kidding, but, not really. We really, I thought it was a great idea because as a small business owner, it's really, really we can communicate it and, we talk about it and people always say they understand and it's not any fault of the listener. It's just that until you've done this, you don't understand how difficult it can be running a small business, especially in a place like New York City. And just to give you a bit of background, this fine gentleman here, Amadou Ly, I met him when I first opened the store, and he was just a guy who would come in and, chat about wine. At the time, I think he was, would you have been at Arcade then?
Prior, I was at All Good Things.
All Good Things, that's right. You were just saying that. Yeah. And he's a boulanger, an extremely talented one. And, man, about 4 years ago, he started to, he was coming by and, his appearances were a little more frequent. And we, asked him what was going on. And, he said, I'm looking to start my own place. And in Chelsea Market, of all places, one of the destination places for, tourists, obviously. And, I go there to shop. So, because I'm local. But he said, I'm opening my own place. And then I said, all right, man, congratulations. Welcome to the insanity. It's the same thing I said to Mike when he opened MFW. And, and he would come in, every Thursday or Friday and be like, how's it going? How's it going? And he's like, well, we're getting there. And I mean, just what it takes to open a small business is such a process and so emotionally and sometimes physically taxing that it's almost hard to communicate that. It's like a podcast in and of itself, just talking about what it takes to open a business. And I guess what was it about? Was it fully 2 years ago that you finally opened? Or
2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago, Alf Bakery opened in the basement of Chelsea Market. And I'm not just saying this because he's sitting here. He's the best baker. He makes the best stuff I've ever tasted.
I'm going to be leaving throughout this to go have more.
Yeah, there's some sandwiches hanging out there. But whether you like sweet, whether you like savory, whether you just want a baguette or a croissant, the stuff is amazing. And, I had been thinking about, Mike and I had been discussing, man, we should ask Amadou if he wants to come on and be part of the podcast. And we're like, this is a great idea. And I mentioned it to Amadou, and he said, yeah, let's do it. About a week or two later, my wife and I were on the 14th Street bus on our way to middle school parents' night. And I said, hey, Amadou, what's going on? We saw him sitting there. And this was, I guess, about a month ago. And we were having a conversation, and at one point he just took a deep breath, and he said, I think I'm going to close this bakery at the end of the year. And we're talking about a bakery that received all the accolades and had a community of regular customers and tourists alike. And it just so happened that he had come to this decision, and here we are tonight. Not to, bury the lead or start off with tough news, but it's a really, I think, a really important thing to discuss, how difficult it is. Even when things seem like they're going great, especially in this, in a business like, a bakery or a restaurant, you're always skating on a razor's edge. And, with that in mind, I think, we'll get Amadou involved in the conversation here. I don't know if you want to start with how you got into this or how you got to the point, or you just want to jump right into what it's like running the business. But
thank you, guys. I'm very happy to be invited to be a guest and talking to you guys. I think you run the businesses before. I did run my own. And I known you maybe, since you opened your shop?
Probably 15 years.
Yeah, we always walk around this way, go to the A train. Mm-hmm. One day, me and my wife, we just come across to this little shop. We went in there. I'm like, hey, let's go in there and see what this guy has. It's so small, it's beautiful. That's what we like. And we went in there, and then since then, we become regulars. And our mentality, me and my wife, is always like small businesses. That's how we eat. We go to Union Square Market. This is our path. We shop vegetables or we shop fish. We'll pass by 13th Street. We'll get our wine. We'll go home. We talk about his wines, And we fell in love with it.
Thank you.
And supporting small businesses is the key, to get New York, this cosmopolitan city where we are all striving to do something for the community. I mean, your wine shop is a community wine shop.
Yeah.
And being small and catering to small growers, that's what you do. You go and import, bring it, the wine, sells to Matt, sells to other guys, but you care about a small scale grower that that you wanna promote because that's healthy for the world. We've been coming on and off, supporting, and then one of the sudden there were times that I was not coming because I'm working in Tribeca. Mm-hmm. I was at arcade. You're like, once in a while I show up. You're like, I hadn't seen you for a while. Yeah. I'm like, you're not in my path anymore. I'll go to work. I'll take the A. Yep. I worked like a donkey. It's just like the 12-hour shift was nothing for me. Mm-hmm. It's like 14 hours, 16 hours. You're back on the train, going home. So I barely see him. Then I start going mostly to Chambers because it's just next to me. I'm like, I'm going to go to Chambers Street. Mm-hmm. And I go home and we close the arcade.
Yeah, that was a big deal when it closed up too.
Yeah.
You had lines around the block.
Exactly. Yeah. That was, I did, but before all of that, I was a pastry chef for fine dining. I got tired of it, right?
You were at...
All Good Things before. I was at Mars Farmhouse. I was at Insieme at the Michelangelo Hotel. I was,
You were at the place in Trump's building, right?
Yes, I was at Jean Georges. I was in all of these places. But as I'm growing older, my love for bread kicked in. Like, it's all fermentation. We love wine.
Yep.
You think of it, it's just fermentation.
Yeah.
It's like grapes, mm-hmm. fermentation, same flour, water, yeast, fermentation, and bake. Mm-hmm. We love food and we love small growers. It's just like the same mentality. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I was lucky enough, the pandemic hit, everything was closed. There was nothing, there was no life. We still hang out with friends that loves wine, that loves food. We make sure we all healthy. We'll get together, we'll drink wine, we'll cook. And the idea of Alf came in one evening. I was at a party in Brooklyn, in Williamsburg. And this Japanese couple invited us. Hey, and then we were there with a bunch of people, right? And we start talking about food. It was about the party. We were all making our sushi rolls in our apartment. Yes. It was really fun. And I met this guy, Mr. Lee. We were talking, and then the host introduced me to Lee. Goes, hey, meet Amadou. He's a chef. And we were talking about food, and then we start talking about bread. And he goes, what are you doing now? I'm like, I wanna, I'm into food, but now I'm mostly into bread. He goes like, you bake? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm doing actually. I do the private events, but my main thing now is baking. And he looked at my stuff with this Instagram thing. He was like, oh my God, you make this bread? I'm like, yeah, because I'm going to introduce you to my in-law that supports people like you that want to start their own small businesses. Right? Talking about small business, that's how it started. I'm like, okay, great. Here's my number. Couple of weeks passed by. Matt, reach out to me, my partner, goes to me, you want to have a coffee? I'm like, yeah. He was like, yeah, I heard of you. Miss Lee told me this and this. Let's meet and have a coffee, and I want to hear from you. Right? And I'm like, fine, let's meet. And we met up, had a conversation, everything clicked. He goes, well, I love what you do, and it looks like you have a lot of experience. I'm not promising you today or tomorrow or next year, but I would like to do something with you. But when it happens tomorrow, it can happen. It can happen 6 months from now. I was lucky. And I waited. A couple of months passed by. We get meetings again. We have coffee. We talk. And we finally found a space at Chelsea Market. And, drip. As you know, we started Alf. Small.
I don't want to interrupt, but but had you been thinking about that before the party? Were you thinking like, I want to do this concept? Or did it just come out of that conversation and that was the kernel?
I wanted to do the concept for a long time.
Okay.
But at the party, it's never occurred to me I'm going to meet this guy.
Sure.
It's crazy that this was the beginning of Alf, right? You have somebody that loves food, but also want to support small businesses. That's what the guy does. That's what he does. And that's how the idea of Alf comes in. We talk about the name, which is Alf. I never know what Alf is, alien life, whatever. He's a funny guy. He's a New Yorker. I'm throwing all these French names, fancy. He goes like, let me think of it, Amadou. And he goes and think about my name. It's Amadou Ly. It's Alf. And then F, Fancy Bakery. He goes, but it's an alien from life. And I didn't know. I never watched that. I'm new to America. I was not born here. I never watched that. Yes.
It was a big deal when we were like,
right?
10 years old.
Exactly. That's what he said. And we both laughed. I'm like, okay, let's not argue about the name. Let's get the Alf thing going. And then small business started. I didn't put any money starting. There was trust. We didn't sign any document. There was trust between this guy helping a baker that he believed in will do a good job. Hey, let's start this business. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Right? Amazing, right? Incredible.
Unheard of these days.
Yes, unheard of. Trust is the number one thing. And then we started, Alf, and we did the whole concept of Alf was, let's do a small bread, let's do a small menu, interesting, based on the classics. We are in a small space. We can't do wholesale. We have a lot of hiring problems because now it's very hard to find employees, right? And it taught me a lot about small business. It taught me about you're limited on space and how much money can you generate in a small space because you're limited. This is as much as you can do. And also we are in a location where it's busy in general, but it's also where we are downstairs. It's a different also relationship with the neighborhood. You know, Matt will come in there, people that knows me will come, people that never heard about downstairs Chelsea Market don't know we're there. Right? It's a little, and then the pandemic have added to new generations of customers. You know, I'm sure your business is the same, where people will leave. Now people will leave their weekends will start on Friday. So I have 40% of my customers. I don't know you, but you don't see them Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
No, I was just going to say, especially, you know, in the summertime.
Yeah.
Anything you haven't sold by 3 p.m. on Friday afternoon.
That's it.
You're not going to sell it again.
Especially in this neighborhood.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
And we did well 2.5 years. Well means you pay your employees, you're not in debt.
Right.
You make a little bit of money for yourself. You pay yourself a little bit to keep the business afloat. And we have a good press. The product is there. But you have to see growth. You know, I was always a baker for someone or a pastry chef. I never experienced at the first, hey, the growth have to be, maybe half of the business have to be, or like 30% of the business have to be dedicated to wholesale. You know, I have a lot of restaurants reaching out to me. I can't make the production with them because I don't have room. So I'm limited to what I can do. And employees now, you have to start them from scratch. You know, it's hard to teach somebody for professional baking. It's hard because I have employees that have no background where I'm spending a lot of time on them. Like, you have to think, when you have somebody with no experience, you're gonna have to train them. They're gonna be paid a salary, and then they're gonna obviously do overtimes because it takes them time to learn. You dedicating a lot of that money that you could have saved training someone, paying overtime, you're screwed at the end. If they stay, you're lucky. Otherwise, you repeat again. It's this cycle of repeat training overtime.
Yeah. And
it's very expensive for you.
Yeah, and for, you know, especially with what you do there, you have, I mean, on any given morning, you're putting out probably 20 different products, right? 20 to 30. And each one of those things is a very specific item. You know? I mean, sure. Yeah, I mean, you think most people could come in and make a sandwich, but that's, you know, just one tiny piece. I mean, you know, the baguette, sure, that's the main driver, but you have all of those pastries, all of this, you know, specialty breads and stuff. And each one of those things is a different, you know, fermentation, a different process, different set of ingredients, different baking time. You know, I'm sure you have much better terminology than I just threw out, but all of that stuff, it takes time. And I was, you know, you were saying before that, like, for example, you know, the conversation Mike and I'm sure, you know, Mike, you probably had this conversation with people, and I've had it with a lot of sales reps as well, is that the business model for most restaurants in the city nowadays does not include a full-on professional wine director. A lot of these, especially smaller restaurants, they are tasking servers to sell the wine, and, you know, staff training, and they do the best they can, but it's not like a dedicated position. And it sounds like it's similar to what you were, you know, saying, where, and you were saying the other day when we were talking that restaurants don't have in-house bakers or pastry chefs like they used to, so they're not training the next generation of professional bakers. And so there's fewer people out there who know what they're doing, and so the people that you bring on, it's not like you could do just a job listing for a professional baker. It's like, okay, this is a bakery looking for help, and you come in, and if you seem like a good worker, then you say, okay, now I have to train you what it is we actually do here. And that's that in and of itself is a full-time job. Never mind running the place. You know?
Well, and it's a huge investment in each of these people that you bring in, hoping, like you said, that they're gonna last, they're gonna get through it, and they're gonna be with you for sufficient amount of time that you'll get that return on that investment that you make, which is a similar thing that we've seen happen in the wine industry, where you had all these people who were really well established in their positions, buying, etc., even on the sales side, and then after all this turnover, whether it's distributors or restaurants or wine shops looking to hire people, a lot of times you're bringing in people who don't have the same experience as the people that you're replacing. And so you have to then put in, whether it's financially or just your own time, trying to teach these people. And it's also the difference here. I mean, everything that you're laying out really showcases the difference between what a small business is compared to, say, a fast food chain. You can literally, like, someone can quit mid-shift and you could pull someone out of their car in the drive-through and put them in front of the cash register and they can do it.
Right.
That's not what you're doing.
No. Yeah, it's I was going to say, like, on one hand, that can be a positive from the perspective that you're not bringing in someone who already has a way of doing things or already thinks they know the best way to do things, and they're going to be hard to convince hard to shape. So when you do bring in someone who's green, you do have the ability to kind of like bring them up and teach them from your approach. And not saying that like, oh, our approaches are great or whatever, but like it's like, this is how we do things here, and this is the approach, and this is the mindset that we have, and this is what we want. So it from one perspective, it is great bringing in people who are new to the job, but like you said, it's such a huge investment of time and effort, and hoping that it pays off, because like you said, there's a lot of people, they come on for a few weeks and then this isn't for me, and that's that.
So mentioning that, there's this, I have one of my former employee coming to visit me today, and she heard we're closing the bakery. She goes, I gotta come and see you and eat the good bread again. I was laughing with her, but she's into like movie sets. Right? I knew at the beginning when she was hired, she was good but she was not going to be there for 2-3 months.
So that was her background was
her background, just
set
movie
design.
sets. Yeah. So she makes way more money than being on cash register at Alf. Right? It's like a person like that, I'm not saying you're desperate, but it's just like you want to hire anyone for the cash register, but it's hard. The turnout is unbelievable. Right? When she finally had something lined up, she was there for a couple of months, she was like, I'm out.
Yeah, because the reality of it is, and this is no disrespect to you or anyone else in this position, but like that's not a living wage.
Yes, exactly.
That's not that.
Exactly. So is this like, sometimes you wonder, because now I have to do everything now, right? I have to train people on the front of the house. You have to train them how to greet a customer. Customer service is number one.
Yep.
So now I'm training people on the back of the house. You're training people how to talk to a customer. It's unbelievable. It's just like, to a point you are like, wow, this is crazy, right? You are all over the place. You wonder if you're not crazy either, right? No, seriously, because you want everything to be perfect.
Sure, it's your business.
Yes. So you bouncing back and forth, and the good things, like talking about this. There's another good things about this is just like that woman came back and she couldn't believe I was closing, because she said definitely the best bakery in town. It's like she brought her friend. She goes like, why are you closing? But I was explaining to her how small business. It's very hard, because after first year, You look at your money, you look at the expenses, you look at all the fees you're paying, you look at your rent, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to go second year. You'll see, you pay yourself a little bit. Second year, same. You're small, you're not expanding, you're not doing wholesale. So it's hard, you gotta, either you want to continue like that, which is sometimes crazy, or you want to say, okay, I want to go to a bigger place. I want to be on the street level. I want to dedicate, like I'm saying, 30% of the production on wholesale, which is restaurants needs good baguettes. They need good rolls. They need good, brioche rolls. I had a lot of restaurants coming to me. I can't do that. That's an income that I'm saying no. It's not viable in a long term. You start to think, you're like, okay, in a long term, I can't do this, because then it's gonna be just like whatever. If I had money, yes, I want to do this little shop, but you have to think about a long term goal here. Mm-hmm. Am I generating revenue for me to expand, or I'm just gonna be here just to be here?
Right. And you have an investor.
Yes, you have to pay them. So it's been, but there's a lot of beauty to it. It gives me another perspective about passing down the knowledge also. I said to this kid that I'm teaching, hey, I hope you learn a lot from here, because everything that I'm doing here, I just learned it. I didn't create all of this. That's the only gift I gave you. I can't give you another gift. The only gift I'm giving you is you to be able to make a great baguette or a great croissant. And you're going to take that everywhere you go. I said, today, if one of you lands in Japan, I said, trust me, I can just put on my backpack and today go to Japan. In a week, I'll be working in a hotel. I said, that's a gift, mm-hmm. right? I have a skill. Mm-hmm. I said, I hope if somebody's here, you have an idea that you want to take something good out of it. You want to, if the bakery closed, the only gift they have is their skills, and they can work anywhere, mm-hmm. which is the beauty that I'm seeing, that we need more and more mentorship where people can learn a skill and then that skill can be passed down. For me, that's another interesting part that I'm very proud of, that when I see the guy that never shaped the baguette and now he's baking most of the baguette and he knows the pre-shaping, the fermentation. Well, sometimes they're trying to cheat, but you will tell them when you look at the product, they're cheating. Right? If they are into it, you look at the product. If you cut the fermentation, the product is not good. Mm-hmm. Color-wise, crunchy-wise, flavor-wise, you know the crazy person. So if they want to learn that skill, people come for the baguette from all over. I always say to them, hey, that recipe is the same everywhere.
Yeah.
The hydration is the same everywhere. There is like a formula for this. It's a universal formula. You can add a little bit of other flour, organic, whatever. But when you cut the corner, you will never get this product. But what a great gift to learn, mm-hmm. right? If you know that.
And how long would you say on average that person takes that comes in super green and then comes away with that skill that they can do?
Oh my God. It's unbelievable. Sometimes I can't even believe it. There's going to be a time of yelling. Right?
Getting yelled at,
but that's the part of the process, because we as humans, we like to cut corners. That's across the board.
Absolutely.
We do like to, that's in our DNA. We wanted the easy stuff. Mm-hmm. Everyone. But when we want to do the good product, you become like a perfectionist. You start to understand, hey, this baguette is no good. I know what the chef is telling me. I know, I see it now, and I want to learn this skill. That's hard to teach. Some people will absorb it in 6 months. You start to seeing they show up. They will respect the fermentation. But the beginning is hard. It's making an artisan product. It's a hard thing. It's things that are disappearing.
Yeah. And so what, I don't know what percentage is the right question, but when you are hiring people, like, for example, someone working in restaurants, fine dining, they rely on bringing in young, ambitious, kind of bright-eyed, bushy-tailed people who are going to put up with the long hours and the rough pay and, you know, the stress of the kitchen because they want to learn. Do you get people who want to learn, or are a lot of the people you're hiring nowadays just people who are looking for a job?
Okay. So that's a good question. So I was having a problem with hiring for a while. My first crew, in a year, they're all gone, right? But they were all blue. They never baked. And some of them either will come late, either will not show up. So it's a tough job. Waking up at 4 a.m. It's a commitment. It is a commitment. So some of them, after coming late 3 times, I have to let go just for the team. You know, you learn also to choke on your emotions because of the crew. You know, this whole disciplinary thing. If I let you arrive late 3 times, the crew
else is going to start
doing the same thing.
I guess that's the way it goes here. Yeah.
So then you are like, okay, I can't have you because you become a poison. And they're all gone. And I hired, it's funny. When I opened, I had one professional that I thought was very good. It opened my eyes of hiring also. I thought, you know, when you hire someone that knows how to already make croissants, but I want them to make a perfect croissant the way I do it.
The way you do it, right? Yeah.
Right? So you were talking about that earlier. So the way you do to shape that person, but you don't know the people. So that person only I knew him through him coming training with us when I was at arcade. Right? And big mistake. I didn't know, you know, psychology of people. You know, I didn't care about this when I was a baker for someone else, because I didn't have to deal with this. I was just a baker. Yes, I was baking, I was learning, I was making sure I learned everything. I was trustful, I was cleaning, because I wanted to do my own baking.
You were doing your job.
Yes.
Yeah, you were doing your job.
Yeah, now I'm the boss.
No, you're the managing.
Yes. And the psychology of people start kicking in, start hitting me. So that particular dude, when I was not there early, will come 45 minutes late. He knew I was not coming early. But he will come in, he was a lonely wolf. He will come in, and I didn't want to have that in my team. So I noticed that, I'm like, okay, this is crazy. It looks like you never worked in all the bakeries, but this is the type of person now that I have. He come in, he'll do viennoiserie. He'll do whatever I tell him to do, and we'll leave, right? But he will never help his co-worker. So that was already like a problem for me. For me, I wanted to build a team when someone will, is helping this guy. When you finish your work and someone needed a help on shaping sourdough, that's how you be versatile and have a team. He wouldn't do it. And if somebody wanted to come in and shape croissant with him, he'll be fussy. And I'm like, wow, wow, this is crazy.
Yep.
And it started hitting me. But the lateness, that's what pushed me off. And I'm like, okay, you do warnings. I did a couple of warnings, was not listening, but I didn't know he has a recurring drinking problems. So you start to discover the people.
Yep.
As a baker,
yep.
They were like, he will come, he was off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. He was actually there only 4 days a week. I'm like, okay, I'm going to have you. You know how to do the croissant. I will have you 4 days. I will let you do that. But please don't come late. And he kept doing it. But I never knew he had a drinking problem. So every time he goes out on Friday, Saturday he was late, which I was having a little sleep because he was there. I thought he was there early with the crew because he was supposed to come at 6. He'll come at 6:45. He'll come at 7. He knows I ate. I was there. So, but the other members of the crew, since I introduced him to them, I knew him for a while. They thought we both would agree to him coming late. They didn't want to come to the chef and tell me, hey, do you know such and such is coming? But they were like, which I respect. So once I caught him, but sometime I will come at 6 a.m. They'll see him. I'll come in. Sometimes it's like I'm the only one in there. I'm there at 4:30 a.m. When they show up, I'm there fucking shaping bread. And they're like, whoa, he's here. But, you know, it's all you learning about the psychology. And then twice I caught him. He was not there. He'll come in. I go to the door, reach him out, talk gently, goes like, you can't come late. I'm like, take that as second warning, but he can't. I can't have you doing this. Look at those guys.
And you can't continue to allow him to do that.
Yes.
Because you're trying to build a team camaraderie.
Yes.
So what is that doing?
So he did it again. And that's when, you know, he came in. He was drunk. Like literally crazy. Drunk. And I graded him. I made him at the door. He couldn't look at me. He was like totally like, but he struggled to come. I felt sad.
Yeah.
You know, after that I felt sad, but I had to let him go. I'm like, hey, please don't change. Just go home. This is like, consider this your last day. It's not healthy. But I felt sad, which is I'm running a business. There's a guy that has a drinking problem that I just let go. And he hit me for a while. He hit me months and months and months. But I couldn't help him. I couldn't run a business with a guy that is not a team member. So I was not like that 10 years ago. I didn't care. The chef will do the job for me.
Yeah.
But now
It's all on you.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's on you. And it's, you know, that's the hardest part. And then I start hiring these people out of the blue. And then you have another problem, which is, like I'm saying, your payroll will go high up. Because in order to train that people, that person gonna end up, instead of doing 8 hours, that person is doing literally 14 hours a day. That for you to push it to get
Now
to
you're
that,
paying overtime.
and it's about fires. So you have all of that, and you learn that. You're like, oh my God, this is crazy. But hiring a non-skilled worker is expensive for the owner. It's expensive for you in your pocket.
Sure.
And people don't realize that. You're like, well, I'm putting all these efforts, but also I'm putting money in this. It's just like a double sword. You can't escape it.
It's a 72-edged sword.
Yes.
You know? It's just like it never. Yeah. There's so many things. The way you put it before is that like when you work for somebody else, obviously, everybody at a company wears, especially a small company, wears multiple hats. But at the end of the day, you show up, you do your job, you go home, you shut it off, right? Whereas, gosh, I mean, look, it still happens all the time. But I remember those first few years, just lying awake at night, being like, I owe this person that money. I got to pay for this. I got to do that. And it's just like, all right. And you get up and you just somehow like, you suck yourself up, face the day, and you go about it. And, it's so funny because when you're in it, it always feels super stressful. But, this is, my 15th year of doing this. And it is very easy to look back on those early years when it was just me here doing it. Like literally by myself, and
I know
Emily would be here with me on Saturday. And at the time, I was like so stressed out all the time. But it's very easy to look back on that and be like, oh, those were the golden,
That's human psychology.
That was the best. Yeah. It's total human psychology.
Block out all the negative.
Yeah. But it was, it was much simpler, when I had no employees and, whatever. It was just, at the end of the day, if it was a good day or a bad day, you could always just say like, oh, that was just me. There was no external, I shouldn't say no external forces, but there was no other things to manage. And then, I feel like we all want to like think about like, oh, someday in the future when it's going to be, this big thing, and it just, self-sustaining, and I'll finally be able to take some money out of it, and I'll finally be able to like not have to worry every night before I go to bed or wake up in the middle of the night and be like, oh shit, I forgot to send that check or whatever. Whatever. But I don't think that's just the reality. I think it's very easy, getting back to human psychology, it's very easy to think about like this day in the future when you cross the finish line and you're on easy street, and I don't think it's ever like this.
No,
Doing this thing, it's ever like it. And you could like, have all the investor money and all the PR and the fancy space and with, the great, fancy design and everything looks great. But I don't know. I just don't. It's just to the point now where I think that any business that it seems to everyone is doing great is probably in the worst shape you possibly can be. I don't like. Yes,
I mean, the overall economy sort of indicates that.
Right. Yeah. Well, and also like not to go.
No, let's go
full on down the rabbit holes, but it's like there are a lot of companies. We could stick to this industry really quick. Who, from the outside, again, it appears like everything is just
golden.
Great there, and all the
but that's like the
they have
happy
all
couple.
the buzz, and right, yeah,
Everything is golden. Yeah.
they have all the buzz. They have their restaurants packed every night, or their wine shop is always mentioned, or their import company is thought of as the place. Yeah, without like speculating or naming names, I know for a fact that a lot of places are struggling.
Well, look,
we think that from the outside appear to be at the top of their game.
But you see that even on some of the most basic, like national businesses, where at least if you're paying attention, or maybe I'm just siloed into negative economic information, but it just seems like every time I open up my phone, it's like this big national chain is closing all these locations, or is going out of business, or just
or it was all smoke and mirrors,
or
the company's $100 billion in debt or whatever.
That's crazy.
It's
So then it's like you have to think, if it's that much of a struggle for all these enterprises that you look at and you just think like, oh well, they must have it so easy, then it kind of comes back to someone like you, where it's like, okay, well, or that people probably don't even really think about, because they see Alf Bakery, you're getting all these accolades,
you're getting,
and you've got a fabulous product, you're in Chelsea Market, that in and of itself gives some kind of like bona fides. So like,
sure.
What brought it to, like, was it just, okay, we're not going to make the profit, or we're just confined by the size? Like, what ultimately brought you to the place where you were like, I'm just going to close the doors?
The second year made me think twice about, do I want to, because like I'm saying earlier, I can't do wholesale. So I have a huge chunk of this business that I can do, which is not sustainable.
And that is purely, no wholesale is purely based on space.
On the space.
Yeah.
So I'm limited. So this was almost like, if you're limited, I could have been there another 5 years. It doesn't matter. It's going to just be the same, because I'm limited. I have my display stuff is almost the size of this, which I manage to have 2 layers up just to put products. But that's it. That's all I could do. So you come to realize, you're like, okay, I'm pushing, having all this, like you said, 22 product. But it doesn't matter. The business model, this kind of food business model,
volume.
You have to make a volume. You have to make, like I will make, if it was a bigger place, I could have done hundreds of baguettes for myself just on my sandwiches. Which you're not making money selling a baguette. You're making money selling $14 sandwich. You're selling a baguette $6. Right?
It's like the steak in the restaurant.
Yes. Yeah. So you have to think of that as a business owner. You're like, okay, I can't do this, therefore it's not sustainable. You have to react quick. Otherwise, I could have been there another 5 years. I would say everything is golden.
Yeah.
but it's not as golden as you think. I have all this review. The product is great. Oh, Alf, the baguette is great. The laminated baguette, the babka. But I want to wholesale the babka. Mm-hmm. I can't do it. I have no space. I can live on making 10 babkas a day.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
So you have to think logically, is this sustainable on the long run? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Then you react. That's what my reaction goes like, okay, it's been 2 years and a half. That's all we can do, and it's not sustainable. Because I want a growth. I'm running a business to have a growth, not just to be stagnant. Then that's a problem. If you're stagnant, chances are you're just training people, they'll get some knowledge, they'll leave. You're going to be there. How long are you going to be there doing this? It's like you actually need to generate a little bit of revenue. Mm-hmm. And, the minute I was closing, I have all of this restaurant reach out to me, goes like, oh, somebody offered this astronomical money, and I laughed. I'm like, I'm not making that here in my place. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how crazy it is. Mm-hmm. Right? You're like, as an owner, I don't pay myself the salary.
No.
Which is like, I was telling that, which is funny. You're like, okay, but I want to do this. This is what I want to do. I want to do it for a couple of reasons. To pass down the knowledge, to make a little living, but also, this art form is dying. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This artisan work is dying. People are doing crazy ass mass production of product, and people are not learning the skills anymore. I'm sure it's into winemaking is the same. You got people that are extensively farming grapes, right? Versus somebody farming a couple of hectares, mm-hmm. Acres of land and doing the grape, out of a grape. Mm-hmm. It's just like, you have to choose your bottle here.
Sure. Well, you have to have an economy of scale.
Yes.
It sounds like that was really your issue.
Yes.
And that's what I think faces a lot of artisan bakers, winemakers.
Yes.
That's what I was just going to say, is that, fine artisan products necessarily can only be so mass produced, right?
True.
Great wine, great food, great bread, whatever. Sooner or later, it gets to there's a threshold where, like, if you wanted to expand into this level of volume or this level of sales or whatever, the quality is going to suffer. Mm-hmm. And so that's just like, we're all in this.
Because, law of diminishing returns. I mean, that's just like kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it sounds like in your case, it wasn't necessarily you wanted to become like
I don't. No,
you just wanted to fit the demand. You had more demand and you couldn't
do.
Yeah,
right.
So, like, I was just gonna ask, like, hypothetically speaking, if you had a great team who was willing to work a graveyard shift, could you have had the wholesale stuff going overnight? Like, I mean, obviously, who the hell wants to work from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. whatever? I understand that, but could you have hypothetically made that space work in a 24-hour or a 20-hour cycle?
On that space, then when you think of it, doing that on that space is so small, you're going to have to spend a lot of money. Then I'm going to have to build these two expensive teams.
Mm. Right, exactly. You'd be working with two teams.
Yeah.
But would you even be able to, you and I talked about the way that you ferment. Like, is that even sustainable in a place that small?
No. So that's the whole thing. This whole thing was, let's start here. The product is great, but this is the room we have. This is what we have.
Yep.
You can't expand more than this. Mm-hmm. And which is hard, which is hard for a business, because when I'm having phone calls from restaurants telling me, oh, I love your baguette, or are you making focaccias? Even focaccia, it's like, it's a great focaccia.
Amazing focaccia.
Are you making, or like, hey, coffee places that I go, they are like, they have my croissant, they're like, hey, I can't believe I can have your croissant because what I'm selling right now, I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You hear that, but I said to them, I can't do that production. I'm not designed. I was not thinking of this when I was starting this business. I wanted to start.
Mm-hmm.
I was hungry. I didn't have all this information.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have the information that, hey, I could have sold the frozen croissant to hotels and restaurants. They just need to throw it, proof, and bake. I had everything figured out, but I didn't have this knowledge when I was starting this. I just wanted to do it. Right? That's now I'm faced with a different reality. Hey, we could do this, but I can't. I don't have the power. I don't have, but also at the end of the year, I don't have the revenue. So now you start thinking, you're like, okay, this is not sustainable in the long run. It's just like this, as much as I can do to pay up all these guys, but beyond that, I can't do anything else. So it's very hard. You have to think of it twice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you think of what your mental picture of what it was going to be in the early days when you were just kind of conceptualizing the business, and it all makes sense kind of on paper. Mm-hmm. Whether or not you have the right coaching and the right people telling you like, oh yes, we'll set up the business plan. Here's going to be I mean, here I am 15 years in, I'm still flying by the seat of my pants in a lot of respects, right? And the idea that you had in your head, it makes perfect sense. It's like, yes, this is great. Mm-hmm. And then, I'm not saying anything new here. Of course, this is the nature of life, right? But you hit the ground running, and things, okay, this is great. You're excited. You have all you got the energy. You're in the whole, zone with the approach. And then it's just and it's like all these little things, right? It's not even necessarily the expenses are killing me or this is killing me, but it's just it's all these little things that they just add up and they make you a crazy person, right? Mm-hmm, a crazy person. If it's not training the employees right, or a batch of baguettes didn't come out correct. It's not even the things like that are core to the business, like the day-to-day functioning of the business. It's the air conditioning system just crapped out, or delivery that you needed for a party, never showed up on time, or just all of those things. And it's just it gets to the point where you feel like it's almost like you would just expect something to go wrong, in the minute, and even when it's not, then it's oh yes, things have been going great. We've done some great sales, and oh, I'm finally getting my head above water when it comes to the bills. And then you talk to your accountant, it's oh yeah, quarterly estimates are due, and you owe
this
X times $10,000, and it's
what?
Oh.
But that's the thing. So as much as I said earlier, all these challenges that seeming to be occurring with larger businesses, I think that's a product of this moment. But by and large, the difference between small and large is just that. It's they have the flywheel is moving, and then you have girth. So if something happens, like the air conditioner goes out, it's all right, well, whatever. We're just there's so much going on. Right. That's just something we don't have to worry about fly in the ointment. But when you're small businesses, those things really matter.
Oh my God!
I mean, they seriously.
Oh my God!
Ruin everything.
I had a call earlier with a winery that we work with, and they said that they were just now, I think 5 years in, at the cusp of being they've maxed out the production for their facility, which is not big, they're small. And basically they said, if we can just do what we're doing and not have anything go wrong, by the way, one of our interns like wrecked the forklift the other day, which was like a $5,000 expense, and that is a huge deal.
For a
Like if
small
that
business.
and it's like if that doesn't happen and we can continue at this level, then we'll be okay.
Yep.
But it just leaves you almost no margin for error. And so, like you were saying, Amadou, like anything it seems related to food is all about volume. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a restaurant or whether it's a grocery store.
Yeah.
Like it's all about volume because we make such small margins.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, if you're not doing the volume, then it really puts you at a disadvantage. But the flip side of that is that once volume increases, then quality
decreases
That's
sometimes.
something goes down.
Yep. So talking about, like you were saying earlier about this guy's forklift, whatever, had an accident. You know, I go to Union Square a lot, and there was this guy that used to bring cheese. And talking about now, it all comes back to small business. This guy started making his cheese somewhere in Vermont. But he was learning as well. But imagine contamination, right? That just killed him.
Because I mean that's
When the whole thing was contaminated, they had to destroy all the plant, and he couldn't recover.
Yeah.
He goes to me, "That gonna be my last day at Union Square." Now it's just like the sadness hits you. You're like, "Wow." He said, I can make it."
Yeah. Like all of these things, like, yeah.
It's
like,
crazy. Imagine.
Yeah.
He went out of business.
Pass me that Barolo, Mike. And you know, and this is like something thank you. This idea that sometimes you're doing everything right and then something comes along that you had no control over. Mm-hmm. And as a small business, it can just like destroy you. Like, you know, I wrote about this, you know, it was like my little 10th anniversary newsletter that I sent out. Mm-hmm. And it was just, I had just dropped my kids off at school in the morning and I was walking here, and this is in 2020, so during the pandemic. And I'm just walking up Bleecker Street and all these places are closed. And especially the restaurants, right? That was just like such a killer for me. And I just like had this moment because I was just sitting there remembering all I went through to get this place open, the early years, like when I was just here doing it by myself. I mean, you know, the first, I don't know, 6 or 7 months that I owned the place, I worked 7 days a week. It was just me here, 7 days a week.
You have to.
I had like one day off to go to somebody's wedding, and that was it. And I'm just thinking like, that's all of these people whose restaurants have closed. And I'm not talking about like they're closed and hoping they're going to reopen. Like these businesses have already thrown in the towel. And I'm just remembering all I went through to open it. And then I'm thinking like, that's what happened to these people. Mm. And they used up their life savings. They used up all of their energy and their, you know, their hopes and their dreams. And just like that, poof. And, you know, again, and it's not like I'm trying to like rail against big businesses, but it's like they don't, you know, most of them survived because they either have the ability, a lot of them were allowed to stay open because they were big businesses or whatever. But, you know, you have the ability to, you know, like you said, Mike, there's the flywheel's in motion, you have the momentum, and you can just deal with these things, right? As a small business, it's like, if something like that happens, or like, you know, producers, right? How many producers have a frost in April and then that's it?
This was it.
Nothing.
For sure.
You have nothing for that year. And if you can survive it, maybe you have better luck next year.
And if you're a big producer, you probably have a good insurance policy. Just like if you're a big business, you've got a massive insurance policy, which is called the government, which assures that it's capitalism on the way up and socialism if you find your way falling down.
Yeah, well, that's what
you don't get that benefit.
One of the biggest arguments that is always, you know, in the political realm is about regulation and government regulation. And you know, everyone who's like on the pro business side likes to rail against regulation. But the reality of it is, you know who doesn't mind regulation? Really big businesses, because they have teams of lawyers and accountants and all these people who make sure, and compliance officers, that they're, you know, and they know that it's the small businesses who can't do that. So it's just another way to, you know, crush competition and, you know, stifle entrepreneurs. And like, this is like, you know, not to sound like we're complaining, even though I said we were going to, like, it's like, it really, it's just like you're running on a treadmill, and every fifth step, somebody throws like a cream pie in your face, and you can't breathe all of a sudden, and it's just like you think you're catching your breath, and then you're like, next thing you know, and it's hard, man. I mean, it puts strain on your relationships with other people, with family, with
everything.
It's just it's nonstop.
Yeah.
Well, because it becomes the centerpiece as much as maybe you don't want it to.
Yeah.
Right? Because if your business isn't going well, then it affects everything else. I mean, like, listen, I try to do all the Zen stuff of like live in day tight compartments and not worry about the thing tomorrow that I can't control. But like at the end of the day, who can really do that well?
Yeah.
So it's going to affect everything around you. And again, I think that's like really one of the main differences between small businesses and larger entities is the fact that we're living and dying by this stuff. And if you have girth, if you have safety nets, then maybe you don't worry about those things as much as you do when you don't have all these backstops. And I think that's the major thing that people understand it. At the end of the day, I do think people get it. Like if your average person understands the general difference between a small business and a large business. But what I don't think that people necessarily see is sort of like the frog in the pot that's slowly getting warmer, where I mean, how many options if you're a business and you had to, I don't know, buy a certain product, and maybe 20 years ago there were like 20 different suppliers, and now today there's 4 or less. And you can apply that same thing across multiple examples of where just there's been so much consolidation. And at a certain point, if you're just the average Joe out there who appreciates a great baguette or a great bottle of wine or a great cup of coffee, at a certain point you got to start thinking about like, well, if those things aren't going to exist at a certain point, if I'm not a little bit more conscientious with what I do with my dollar. And even that's probably hard because, again, we just talked about how tough it is. Like, how hard is it to give people a living wage and give them insurance and all the other things that they need to actually be able to afford the products that we're producing ourselves or selling?
Yeah. It's
and then also there's another learning curve about to this artisan work. You can't put passion on people. You know, sometime like small business, you need somebody, at least like some of your core people, to be passionate. Right? You need one day to find someone that when you're not able to go to this vineyard in France, he can do the job. You need to find that guy. That's it. It taught me a lot too. It's like, it's very hard to find that guy. It's very hard to find someone that wanna be you. That's it. You know, this business taught me, it's like, wow. It's because not everybody is passionate as you are. Some people, it's just, they show up, it's a job for them. You need them, of course you need them. But you have a life. You wanna be able to go this winter to California and send one of your assistants to France, to a Burgundy land where it seems like you're there, but it's very hard to find that guy. Right? It's a guy that cares about the product, that want to be the chef, and I start respecting more about my peers, that like a guy like Alain Ducasse. You know, now I have a huge admiration for those chefs because there are more than 30 restaurants worldwide. And you start wondering, how the fuck they do it?
Because they have 29 versions of themselves.
Yeah.
And like, how the fuck they do it?
Right.
You're like, wow, I can fucking run a business of 5 people.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, you start having admiration. You have to admire those guys because they were able to have this team of people that almost like are they clones, that cares more about service, cares more about the product, service. Restaurants are tough in hotels. Like, imagine a guy that have 30 of them. Like, it's impressive.
Sure.
Like I opened the bakery, you're like, oh fuck, I can't even have 5 heads that are like me. Right? It's
Right.
like, it's crazy.
Right.
Yeah. It, you know, yeah, it takes, I don't know, it takes
You know
money,
what?
right?
It takes money and it takes time, because I think the reality of it is you probably would have found that had given enough time or given enough opportunity. So one of the things that I'm curious about, and I think the easy answer is money, but what do you think could have gone differently? Like looking back, because hindsight's obviously 2020, but given the opportunities to do things differently, what do you think maybe would have changed?
I don't know. I think the concept was I was not thinking about how much revenue I would need every year to keep this running. Right? I didn't have, I never run a business before. Right? It's just like, let's go and do it. But the reality was, we're doing it first year, second year, and you start learning, you are like, oh, the first year taught me, but the second year is almost like the same like the first year. Nothing have changed. And you start to react, you are like, okay. You know, that's when I start thinking about the space, the wholesale, the this and this and this. How many accounts I couldn't refuse because I refused because I couldn't do it. That's revenue that I didn't accept because I couldn't do it. Maybe on, you know, if I knew all of this, I would just say, hey, let's just do on this location baguettes. Let's do only croissants. Right? It would be much easier and people will come there for their breakfast and croissants, maybe sell shitload of croissants to some other guys. So you limit yourself. You are like, people are known. It's like people, when you go to a crepe place, they do only crepes. They're not doing anything else. They are like focused on this. That's what they do. That's what they, here is like a whole bakery. Here is like a fucking machine. It has to be bigger for it to achieve. Like, let's say I have 3-deck oven. It takes time to turn them. You know, you struggle on a busy day because when you bake 1 deck on a baguette, 1 deck on croissants, 1 deck on focaccia, that's it. That's all you got. But each deck, it takes what? The baguette deck, it takes it like 45 minutes to reheat up for you to do another load. Right? So people that are designing wholesales, they have a 5-deck oven. Each of them is designed for a product. So they're not stopping. It's like every time you stop for an hour, it's money. You're wasting money. You're waiting 45 minutes to an hour to unload maybe 100 baguettes. That's money. So you can't do it. It's just like you're limited to your design. First, you fail on your how you designing the space. But you have all these expenses. You're like, okay, now I have only 3-deck oven.
So what you had the space and the budget for.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's hard. It's hard. But you know, it taught me a lot. But at the beginning, you just want to do it because you want to present a product. But as you go, you start to realize, you know, things are starting showing up left and right. Right? You know, you got, you know, people that are working overtime, they need to be trained. You have no control of that. You know, you have no control of your production. So, but you have to learn from that. And then your next vision would be, okay, differently done. Right? You are like, okay, I learned from this. I know that hour I would, maybe you were wasting 5 hours every day waiting for this oven to shut. You could have done the standard hotel. I could have done baguettes for them. That could have been $400 revenue. But I can't do it. The manager comes in every day, goes to me, dude, I can't do it. If I want to do that, then I can sell at my shop. So I'm limited.
Right.
So that's that revenue that is going, like the restaurant on the corner, the catering guys that need 10 sheets of focaccia every week. So you're like, I can do it.
Right. Because you're cutting off, because you don't, the GP is better when you're selling it direct. Obviously, wholesale is a lower GP. So, and when you're limited by space, it only makes sense to do things direct.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, that totally makes sense.
It's but it's a learning. It taught me a lot though. It's a growth and also it's a growth for me. I think there's a lot of growth. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. It's like unbelievable, right? I didn't have that mind 5 years ago. I was just like coming in, like you said. But now as you have to open your eyes, you're like, what's commercially viable for a business? What could I have done differently? But also, space-wise, I have a budget. This is what we had. This is what we could afford. And, it's just like what it is. And you learn from it. I mean, I hope I learn from this. Because everything that I'm telling you right now is just like legit. It's like the income that I refused. I couldn't make it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, obviously, you probably can't give things away, but what are you thinking about for next steps?
Next step is very interesting. That production, next step will be, if I reopen Alf, will be more of a street level.
Not basement level.
No.
Yeah.
We graduated from the basement.
Yeah. And, yeah.
No, seriously. We graduated from the basement. And I actually have created a community around here where people, all over Manhattan actually, people come far away. They come from Upper East Side. They come from, seriously, people come all the way from the boonies.
I'm sure. I'll share a story with you off camera from Queens.
Right? So, and people come from all over, and that's creating a community. That's the beauty about this. You don't see, the closure is little hard, but the product is there, and I will do more, like I'm saying, about the other side of the business, where the revenue can come in, can save whatever is slowly done in the packaging. So I learned all of that, the packaging, and the community here is just like everybody in this neighborhood are used to this good product. They are like, where you going? Please open here, reopen here, because you just introduced to us this good product that is legit, and everybody talks about it. We bring it to our family. People came every day. Like in all Europe, to buy a baguette. That's a beautiful thing to see.
That's
Every day.
It's the perfect
every
thing.
day.
Yeah.
Like they come in, you shake their hands, and they're like, I want a baguette.
That's how commerce should be.
And I'm happy. That makes me happy. But the next level is just like to make it bigger. I don't have a sitting area. People can sit like a real cafe. Like people can, the coffee program can expect, I can have more coffee program, more drinks, more savory stuff. So that's the next project. And traveling, because I have a guy in Madrid that is want to open a bakery, so I can help them start the bakery.
So you're going to
consult and get that going, and come back and reopen Alf somewhere around here. I would like to do it around here because I already have a whole neighborhood that wanted the product, which is good. That's hard actually to. I'm already having a grassroots of people that want to come support because the product is there. That's the hardest part to have.
That's the foundation of everything. Yeah. That's the most beautiful thing, for sure. And you just got to figure out a way to
Well, I'm glad to hear there's going to be a next chapter.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And I definitely, as a denizen of this neighborhood, wholeheartedly agree with everyone. We hope your next location is somewhere in this vicinity, because not just because you come by wine for me, but because
Thank you.
Because you have the best stuff.
Thank
for
you.
Sure. And yeah, any final thoughts or?
You're the man.
Other than vote with your dollars, people, please. Please.
Final thought is we need more of Alf in the United States, everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I truly believe artisan work, wherever it is, should be promoted. This is how I eat home. This is how I drink. This is how I dress. So it's in my DNA. You know, I buy my clothes based on quality, not quantity. I don't want to buy every 6 months a pair of shoes. I'll buy one pair of shoes. The same thing. I'll buy forever one winter coat. And I think to support those guys that are making this artisan work to last, you know, I'll support, you know, I come here, I go to Chambers, I go to all these small wine shop. And, you know, it's just, that's how I live my life. And I wish the whole world need more of artisan work in small businesses, because I think that's the only way we can strive as society.
Yeah. It's the only
Right.
way that we have our, our humanity in our community. Yeah.
It doesn't benefit anyone to sit at home and just order everything.
Yes.
No.
No.
Definitely doesn't benefit you as a, an orderer. I get it. Like, Mike and I were having this conversation the other night. Like, I get it. Like, Amazon is super convenient, and I use it myself, of course. But at some point, what makes life beautiful and communities beautiful, and what makes New York City Paris, like all of these places, like if it wasn't for the small businesses that add color and spirit and dynamicism and variety, that's what makes the city life worth living. If you don't have that, what's the point? We're all just here paying exorbitant rent and extreme cost of living just to get the same
Live in a
stuff you can
box
get
and
anywhere
order
else.
shit delivered to our door.
Right. Yeah. Which I don't know. Maybe that's the goal, but
In 15 minutes.
Exactly. I just I agree with you. I mean, it's very easy, not to just speak about New Yorker, but it's very easy to think like, oh, we're in New York. This is the big bad city, and it's gritty, and everyone's going out for themselves, and there's no sense of community here like there is in a small town. I find that to be the furthest thing from the truth. I don't know, maybe it's just where I live, but I think most people would agree that I walk down the street, walking my son to school, I say hi to 5 people on the way. I just this is like the sense of community and the beauty that a variety of interesting small businesses offers is what makes it great, right? And if everything is just a corporate entity, what's the point? That's no fun. I mean, you get that anywhere. You can go live in an airport if that's what you want. But
it's amazing that you said that, because at the bakery, I'm sure here too you have. It's wild how I have these crazy celebrities coming in. I don't know him. Like, there were times a guy at the counter would tell me, who this guy was? And I'm like, I don't know the guy. I tell such and such are coming here. These people are coming here to this bakery. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful to see, because, and I believe in their cause, they had the good product, but also they want to support the small business. Mm-hmm. They will come in, they will buy a croissant for their families, and they will leave. Like personalities, like that's a community, right? Like you say, people are saying there's no sense of community in New York. There is a sense of community in New York.
definitely.
There's a lot of like help through all of these people that are well connected that are coming to your shop, buying wine because they feel like they don't want to. They could have sit home and tell their assistant, buy me wine online.
Yeah.
But they'd rather sometimes come here, say hi, oh, what's up? How was summer for you? They're gone away. They have a lot of money. They'll come and they're like, oh, how was summer for you? I was here. They'll like, give me this and this and this. I missed your bread. And it's just like beautiful.
Yeah.
Right? That's the beauty. The beauty to it is just like, it doesn't finish. And then you have that in New York. Maybe in a small town, you don't even have that.
And, you know, I mean, well, and you know, that's, you know, the story we've always been told is the charm of a small town where everybody knows everyone and there's the place. But like, I mean, and like we've had this discussion, Mike, like even, you know, like we like to think of, you know, that doesn't happen in France, for instance, but like you were telling me that like, you know, you get out into the country in France and it's like supermarket, big box places are taking over.
Carrefour.
Yeah.
So
You don't go to the boulangerie. You don't go. I mean, I'm sure there's still like examples that exist, but by and large, no. You go to the big chain store.
Yeah.
That's outside of the village.
Yeah.
So it's not just a U.S. thing.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I mean, New York has been known for its neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Like, there's people in my neighborhood. They don't leave the neighborhood.
no.
They're
Yeah,
in.
true.
That's where they are.
Born there.
They're born there. They shop there. They do, and I could do that. I could stay in the neighborhood. Everything is there that I need. Ultimately,
Yeah.
not everything, but you know what I mean. Like everything that I really need. And so this is what New York has always been about, and I'm sure you can say the same thing for a lot of cities. Probably every city.
True. True.
I spent a lot of time in Philadelphia. Philadelphia has a great
Neighborhood.
distinction between neighborhoods, and that's what makes cities great. And the people within those neighborhoods, they get to know each other, they form communities, and one of the worst things that I think we're doing is removing that.
But hopefully one baguette, one glass of wine at a time, we can convince people otherwise. Because I know you said before that, you know, the formula for a great baguette is kind of known and it's out there and it's, you know, carved into stone, but I would beg to differ because there's a lot of shitty baguettes out there that a lot of places out there can't seem to nail it the way you do. So, well, with that in mind, I want to say thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You know, it's always a pleasure, and looking forward to what
awesome.
happens next. Christmas Eve is the
Yes.
final day for Alf Bakery, everyone. So if you want to experience
Thank you.
true magic, you have until December 24th, and after that, you got to wait and see what happens after that. So, you know, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on To Tell You the Truth, I Have No Idea.
Thank you.
Thank you.